प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसवं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषूपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः।
ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। Just getting detached from some interests of senses organs is not characteristic feature of Sthita Prajna. In the 59th verse, Sri Krishna says, aspirants may restrain the senses from their objects of enjoyment, but the taste for the sense objects remains. However, even this state ceases for those who realize the Supreme Being. So that means once they get enlightenment, they will not have any desire for anything. We have often seen some people stop eating either brinjal or banana after going to Kashi, and they say that, oh, they have left their desires. But this is a feeble temporary attempt. Their actual desires are not detached. Vishaya vinitavartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam says, actually there are two types of food. One that is eating by the mouth that goes to stomach for the digestion. The other one is the food for the thought that is to our mind. Therefore, nirahara, no food or fasting, is also of two types. One, not eating food as the one wishes or desires. The second one is complete detachment of desire from the mind and introspecting into oneself and in solitude for the divine bliss of God. Hence, person controlling the senses is called niraharasya. Rasopasya param drishta nivartate means the moment the seeker experiences the divine bliss of Supreme Being, he loses all the desires for temporary worldly pleasures. This principle was eloquently expressed by Sri Krishna, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, as devotion is love for the highest and the lowest shall fall away by itself. So rasopasya means determinedly say that I have no desires, do not have emotional instability or rage or revenge, not to have any attraction or attachment or craving for worldly material pleasures. For the example, greedy man desires for the wealth and to prevent the women, and then the greed for wealth leads to greed for women, and the ignorant people call hennu, ponnu, ponnu, mai. But the real learned saint of 12th century, Allama Prabhu, he says, people think gold is Maya, but it is not. They say lady is Maya, but she is not. And they say the land is Maya, and that too is not Maya. Neither gold nor lady nor land is Maya. It is the desire in the mind that has to be blamed for infatuation. So in this verse, param drishta nivartane means Jivatma is not different from Paramatma. When one realizes that spirit of life is part of Supreme Life and follows one of the three paths to reach Supreme Being, then automatically all desires disappear. The glossary of mortal world continues to attract the connoisseurs of pleasures. As one indulges in these worldly pleasures like drinking, smoking, partying, taking narcotic drugs, etc., they make him lazy, sick, and mental and physically disabled or diseased. Such people die very early without achieving anything in life. Hence, Sri Krishna says, Dukkha doshanu darshanam means the worldly pleasures, experience of the misery and sorrows make one for oneself. Good one has to shun these dangerous worldly pleasures and lead a fruitful life. In the 60th verse, Sri Krishna says, Hey Kunti Nandana, the senses are so strong and turbulent, O son of Kunti, that they can forcibly carry away the mind even of a person endowed with the discrimination and practicing self-control. So, however a strong-willed person is, these desires will attract him. The senses are like wild horses that have been newly harnessed. They are impetuous and reckless, and hence discipline them is an important battle that a seeker has to fight within themselves. Yateto hyapi prasabha manaha, the one who with his own effort with wisdom acts consciously is a scholar. The one who is wise understands personally the difference between action and inaction, that is kartavya, akartavya, sara, asara, essence and not essence. What is the effect of these actions? Such a scholar also is not spared. Yatato hyapi purushasya vipaschitaha. That means senses abduct the mind of even such learned scholars, and his mind is and intellect is forcefully abducted by the intense desire of senses. Without his knowledge, he is attracted towards the vices. Therefore, he is not able to concentrate his mind in Almighty God. Hence, in the 61st verse, Sri Krishna describes the method to keep away from the worldly attractions or distractions. They are established in perfect knowledge who seduce their senses and keep their minds even absorbed in me. Tani means them. Sarvani means all senses. Samyamya means subduing. Yuktaha means united. Asita means seated. Matparaha means towards Sri Krishna. Vashe means control. Ti means certainly. Yasya means whose. Indriyani means senses. Tasya there. Prajna is the perfect knowledge. Pratishtitaha means fixed permanently or firmly. So, in this words, the word yuktaha means united indicates the complete absorption in devotion, and matparaha means towards Lord Krishna. Asita means established or seated permanently. That means the impetuous mind and the demanding senses need to be tamed and controlled. Sri Krishna explains how to do this and says only by complete dedication and devotion towards him can control these vices. But after controlling the senses, if one feels he has controlled them, and that ego will not allow him to rise above himself. But when he realizes everything is because of Lord, and then only he gets enlightenment. When the seeker constantly remembers Lord and does the parayana, then he realizes that God is always with him and he can completely absorb himself in Supreme Being. Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. One need not get disappointment after attempting for few days, because this is carried over many lives, and hence the constant attempt continuously is required to succeed in controlling the senses. In 62nd verse, Sri Krishna describes how our mind is responsible for our downfall. and says, while contemplating or on the objects of the senses, one develops attachment to them. Attachment leads to desire, and from desire arises anger. When a person is angry, he is engulfed by the greed and lust, and this is considered as a manasa roga. That means it is like a mental disease in the Vedas. We are all aware of the diseases of the physical body which make us feel sick, miserable, and suffer. But we do not realize the continuously tormented mind can become sick due to the anger, lust, and greed. And even the Western world has not come out of this. Here, Sri Krishna gives a perfect and permanently penetrating insight into the functioning of the mind. When we feel happy about something, mind gets attracted and gets attached to it. For example, a boy and a girl meet, and very innocuous meeting. After some time, the boy starts feeling, I wish I could have her and she could be mine. When repeatedly this thought occurs, then he madly falls in love with her, and then he is unable to take his mind away from her, and concentration on the studies goes off. Now attachment has become crazed and develops into an intense desire of love to her. And if she refuses, then he becomes angry and may go to the extent of attacking her, killing, or throwing the acid on her face with the rage and revenge. This is a sick mind. Similarly, one may start smoking, drinking occasionally for socializing, but then the mind feels that he is relaxed and happy, so starts indulging more and more, and then gets hooked or addicted to it, and starts feeling that he cannot live without smoking or drinking, or without realizing that he is already destroying himself and he is addicted. Once kamane or desire occurs, it gives rise to two more problems, that is greed and anger, and called kama krodha. These twin words are deadly enemies of humanity. In the 63rd verse, Sri Krishna says, anger leads to clouding of judgment, which results in bewilderment of memory. When the memory is bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed, and when the intellect is destroyed, one is ruined. That means anger impairs judgment, just as the morning mist creates haziness covering on the sunlight. In anger, people commit blunders that they later regret, because intellect gets clouded by the perturbed mind. Today, when we look at the people around us, the moral values have collapsed. The people have forgotten that God has given this human life to attain salvation and to lead a very fruitful life with the service of the society, and they indulge in heinous crimes like murders and looting. Sri Krishna says, Krodha bhavati sammohaha. The anger is responsible for the evil mind to harm others. Hence, it is worse than desire, greed, or attraction. In fact, the science has shown that anger increases the fight or flight hormones, where catecholamines and cortisol are 400 times more, and that weakens the heart and the body. So, the angry man himself has suffered. Therefore, the anger not only destroys others, it destroys oneself. Therefore, we should leave this adapatana, the downhill course, and take the refuge in meditation of Lord, and that's how we have to go in a right path. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Shubha.